that is a Greek name. I will not be quizzing you on how to say that. But you can call me Tommy. This is Eric Wright. And Eric and I together represent Fortinet, and we call Fortinet, not Fortnite, Fortinet in the South Texas region. Right? We work with government agencies and universities and school districts to provide them a suite of cybersecurity and networking solutions for their environment. Right? So when Dr. Saldana invited us, it gave us an opportunity to come speak with you. We jumped on it, and we were trying to figure out what would interest you. And I'm thinking, gosh, if I'm you, what do I want to hear about? You're every class, every time you come to class, you're reviewing technical information. You're learning about computers and networking and security and so forth. So we did not want to make this a technical review of any type. We wanted to take a different spin and talk to you about a career in cybersecurity. Right? We've titled our presentation, Get the Job, but Secure the Career. Okay? So we're going to talk about the things ranging from today, real high level on the threat landscape, the threats that are out there, right? We're going to talk about the industry, the different service providers that are out there to help protect organizations from those threats. And we're going to talk about a little bit about Fortinet on how we are helping organizations protect against those threats. So that's kind of setting the table for the need, but then we're going to get into the opportunity. All right, we're going to talk about just the job market in general for IT, the job market for security. We're going to talk about the kind of money you can potentially make, right, in the world of cybersecurity. We're going to talk about some of the competencies and skills that are recommended to have and to continue developing as you, really it's kind of applicable to all IT, but it'll be kind of a general IT and security. We're going to talk about some incompetencies, some things that, some paths that you might not want to take, right? Especially for those of you that are, we'll call it the Gen Z. How many Gen Zers in the room? Gen Z, is anyone born after 1995? Okay, I'm not my hands down. I'm old. I'm an old dude. I'm Gen X. Okay, we got some Gen Zers. Okay, so we're going to talk about some perceptions out there, some of the challenges that employers have in hiring Gen Z. Right? We're going to talk through a journey. Eric's going to kind of walk through his personal journey. He's my engineer, so I'm an account manager, which means I'm the dumb sales guy. He's the smart propeller head. He's got the brains and the looks on the team, right? So we're going to talk about that, and we're really going to tie this back to what I call a formula for success. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. So that's what we're here to talk about. That's why we're here, right? Standing in front of you today. My question for y'all is, why are you here? Right? And not so much, why are you here right now in this room, but why are you enrolled in the class that you are? Why are you enrolled in this program? Right? So this is where I want to get a little bit of feedback. I have my pen. I want to write down a couple of the answers that you guys give me before we get started. So why are you in a cybersecurity class? Why are you studying IT? What are some of the reasons? I'm going to need at least 4 or 5 answers before we're going to sit here all day and you can stare at my bald head until you get some answers from me. Yes?
I would say that the job outlook for things involving IT seems to be going in that direction. So that's why I want to invest my higher education.
Job in IT. Accurate? What else? Good answer. What else?
It's always changing, so it's fun.
It's fun. Fun/fulfillment. Agreed? And two go hand in hand? What else?
Getting closer to cutting edge technology.
Cutting edge of technology. I'm gonna put that, IT cutting edge. And I assume along with that comes just learning about the cutting edge technologies, right?
AI or quantum computing?
I heard AI,
And quantum computing.
AI, quantum computing. Okay. What else?
Challenging.
Challenging.
I don't know if that goes in with the fun for Philly, just because, I mean, other jobs can get a little complacent and, you know, get a little bit monotonous.
Yeah, I would put challenging in there, right? Challenging and fulfilling. What else?
Potential to make good income.
Income. Who hasn't answered yet?
Making a difference.
Making a difference. Make. I got a horrible writing. But making a difference, so like in cybersecurity, for example, protecting the world, right? What else? I did that first. Genuine interest. You're just genuine interested in IT, right? IT interest. A passion. You say passion? Probably, right?
That's the perfect technology create. And you know, like, it'd be nice to know more about how they exactly work and, you know.
No more learning,
Yeah.
right? Learning about IT,
Yeah.
how things work.
Yeah,
Right.
how things work and, you know, since, like, I just pretty much like working with tech every day. Yeah, not this one.
I underline learning. It's basically what you're talking about. You want to continue to learn and evolve around technology.
Yeah, it's rapidly advancing, you know, to, like, you know.
Cutting edge. Learning about cutting edge, the advancing.
Like new developments.
Yeah. New developments like AI and quantum computing.
Yeah.
Perfect. What else? Who has not answered yet? Why are you here? Because my mom made me come to this class. Passion? Okay. Can we go ahead and lower this, lower the screen again? So, asking what? So, how many of you guys are sports fans? Any sports fans in the room? Can you be a sports fan and be a computer nerd? Is that possible? You are, right? Any football fans? Any Dallas Cowboy fans? Any Green Bay Packer fans?
None of this.
Okay.
And there's esports too, Tommy.
Esports. I'm a Houston Texans fan. Any Houston Texans fans? So, good. All right. You get an extra Chick-fil-A. All right. So, I grew up playing Texas high school football back in the 80s, over 35 years ago. My coach was a disciple. He was in the Texas Football Hall of Fame. His name's Oscar Cripps. He was a disciple of a man named Vince Lombardi. Ever heard the name Vince Lombardi before?
That's Cowboy Road.
Vince Lombardi is one of the greatest football coach of all time. And if you think it's Bill Belichick of the Patriots, it's not. He's number 2. Vince Lombardi is the greatest coach of all time.
The Super Bowl,
He was on the original Green Bay Packers team that won the first 2 Super Bowls.
the Bullet Trophy is named after him, isn't it?
The Lombardi Trophy, yeah, absolutely. All right. So not only did I play for a high school coach that was pretty much a disciple of Vincent Party, he would put all his writings up on the wall, all his famous sayings and slogans. I also, when I went to college, I got to play a little bit of college football for the greatest player that Vince Lombardi ever coached. His name was Forrest Gregg. And Forrest Gregg was on the original Super Bowl team, Super Bowl 1 and 2. He actually coached the Super Bowl for the Cincinnati Bengals in the 80s as well. And the funny thing is that Vince Lombardi used to have what he would call a formula for success. Okay? And his formula for success was the success is the point where preparation and determination meet opportunity. Okay, now you can look over it. Please. Okay? So you guys gave me some answers here that fit under this formula. You guys are already focused on becoming successful, right? You guys are focused on preparing. You guys are trying to find your passion, right? There's some effort going into this. What we're going to do, we're going to expand on this formula today for this next, probably next 30, 45 minutes, right? You're going to walk out of here, hopefully, with a better understanding of how you can better prepare yourself for a world in cybersecurity or IT, right? Some things that you can focus on in the category of determination, some things you really need to work hard at, right, in your preparation to become successful. And most importantly, we're going to walk out of here with a really good understanding of the opportunity that lays in front of you. Okay? Make sense? I think we're in alignment. So based on what you already gave me, I think hopefully this will get some value out of this. Okay. So we're going to talk about not just getting the job. People think, hey, I graduate, get my certification, I need to get a job. Oh, by the way, I have 2 college-age kids, right? Focus on the job. Get the job, right? It's not about just the job, right? You want to continue to develop your career, okay? And again, this is just the agenda, which I pretty much already laid out for you. We're going to talk again about today's landscape and tomorrow's opportunity. All right? Interest? I got your attention?
Yes.
All right. There's Forrest Gregg. There's my coach. Again, the greatest player. This is him holding up Vince Lombardi's butt. It's over here. The greatest coach ever coached U.S. football. Okay. So let's talk about the threat landscape a little bit. Now we could talk for hours about this, right? And a lot of data. As part of Fortinet, we have an organization called FortiGuard Labs. They're our threat research team. And if you go out to FortiGuard.com, you'll get a map that looks like this. And what we do on the website, there's a whole bunch of information, threat information, affecting the world today. But in particular, we highlight on the webpage the different types of attacks that are happening out there today. The various countries that are getting attacked, and also the different industries. So real quick, before I even move any further, who here in the room has, before we even talk today, has maybe a possible interest in cybersecurity? I know you're in the cybersecurity class, maybe because you have to take this class, maybe because you want to take this class. But some folks here, at least exploring the idea. Okay. And if not, there are other worlds of IT that are just as good, right? But I think you'll see here that the opportunities really are pretty large. So this is just a view, for example, of, anybody know what a botnet is? Y'all learned that yet? Right? The number of botnets across the world today. So these are the top 10 botnets. As you see, there's about this was a snapshot taken yesterday, a 24-hour view. Roughly 12 million of the top 10 botnets in the world today. So there's definitely a lot of attacks. We can go look at viruses and IPS, and I can look at the endpoint number here. This is IPS. So this is the country view. Anyway, if you go to the website, you can get more detail. I'm not looking at the same time, I'm going to go through every single tab. But again, there's just a lot of different attacks happening every second. These are some of the top countries. The top IPS, the highest number of IPS attacks per country. You can see here the United States, 817, almost 818 million IPS attacks attempted yesterday. Below that, you got Taiwan, Brazil, Indonesia. The U.S., 21% of the world's IPS attacks are happening in the U.S. This is the top 10 threats, the top 10 industries that are being affected. This was yesterday. This is specifically looking at IPS attacks. You can see the technology sector, over 541 million yesterday. The education space, 361 million IPS attacks. Banking, finance, you know government very well. Dr. Saldana, you had 93 million IPS attacks.
And that still seems low.
Yeah, well, that was just yesterday, and one day, and that's global, around the world. So again, I don't think you need me. You don't need me to tell you this, but the bad guys are very, very active, right? Now, do we think this is happening manually? No, they're using system automation, right? They're writing scripts, right? As you guys probably know. So they've automated their systems, right? You want to have, as a result, you want your defenses also to be automated. They're automating their systems. The bad guys are doing that. The good guys should be automating their systems as well. Agree? Okay. So of course, Eric and I are wearing these shirts with Fortinet. We got some swag. We got some product. We think Fortinet, we don't just think, we know, is the best service provider out there that can help the world defend against these threats. And there's some specific reasons for that. But a little bit about Fortinet. We have roughly 700,000 customers, 13,000 employees, almost 1,300 patents, a lot of growth. When I started at the company almost 7 years ago, we had 4,000 people. So we've almost tripled in growth. We had a couple 100,000 customers. We've grown there. The patents have grown as well. So again, we as a company, we are a global company. So our revenue, the money that we make, right, 41% is in North and South America, right? 21% in Asia Pacific and 38% in Europe. So we are a global company. So getting into the details of a couple of those stats here, here's a view. How many of you have heard of some of these companies? Zscaler, Okta, CrowdStrike. Everyone heard about CrowdStrike after last month. Splunk, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, Cisco. You take all their customers together, add them up, and it equates to our customer base. Right? So we have more security products deployed around the world than anyone else. Okay? Look at those patents. This is really telling. You add up all the patents. We talk about innovation, right? Keeping up with the bad guys, the advanced threats, the cutting-edge technologies, right? The automated systems. It takes innovation.
New solutions.
And innovation of solutions, and innovation of new solutions, innovation of existing solutions, right? To keep up with the bad guys. And you can see there, from a patent perspective, you have all the patents that all these folks have, it equates to what we do. So I wanted to beat our chest just a little bit. In case you hadn't heard of Fortinet, just understand we are the largest cybersecurity provider in the world today. Defending, protecting the most customers around the world, most organizations around the world. Had anybody heard of Fortinet before we showed up today? Not Fortnite. Fortinet. Everybody say Fortinet. Okay. So, why have we grown so much? Why are we helping so many customers? What is important? What is our secret sauce? Okay, our secret sauce is that we don't have a product. We brought a few products today. Anybody grab one of these sheets? Did y'all grab one of these sheets? Could you pass these out? So we don't have a product. We have a platform. And we call this platform our fabric, right? I have a pretty PowerPoint slide here, but I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I want to explain to you kind of the concept of what a platform can really be. So how many of you folks grew either in your home now or grew up in a home that had a burglar alarm system, an alarm system? One here? So Eric and I grew up, you can tell by how much hair we have in our head, we grew up in an age where you could actually leave your door open at night, you could go down the street, leave your house with the door open, you could go to sleep at night with your window cracked open, right? Those days are gone. Those days are gone. So we have, I don't know about you, do you have an alarm system in your house?
I do now.
Yeah, you do now. I've always had one, right? Now, what if I were to tell you my home security system? I have a company called, you heard of ADT? ADTs? Yeah. ADT protects my front door. But what if I were to tell you I had another home security company protecting my back door? What if I were to tell you I had a third protecting my windows upstairs? I had a fourth protecting my windows downstairs. I have a fifth home security provider providing motion detection in my house. I have a sixth providing video surveillance around the perimeter of my house. I actually have a seventh home security provider protecting my front door with that smart doorbell that I have. Not to mention my neighborhood watch program. Some of our neighbors, we communicate on an app called Nextdoor. Some of us use Facebook. Some of us just have a text chain, right? There's a lot of different ways the bad guys can get in, right? Not to mention all the different 911 numbers I have to call, which are a lot, right? Not to mention the different support contracts, maintenance contracts I have with all these different, 8 or 9 different vendors, all right? So if you had to pick one word to describe my home security strategy, what would that word be?
Zero trust.
Zero trust, okay. On a positive, what is a negative word you would actually maybe apply to my home security strategy? Overkill, complicated, complex. I think those are some good words. I think you're right. Full transparency, that's not how my home security is set. Right? No one does that. But that's the exact strategy that many IT professionals take towards their cybersecurity networks. Cybersecurity, not their home security, but their cybersecurity infrastructure and their networking infrastructure. They have one vendor for their firewalls, one for their web filter, one for their zero trust, one for their two-factor authentication, one for their endpoint security, one for their EDR, one for their SIEM, one for their web application firewall, one for their switches, one for their wireless access points, one for their phones, right? Our job is to remove that complexity and have a platform that has a broad suite of solutions, right? That integrate together, they talk to each other, and they share that threat intelligence. And through that threat intelligence, it makes FortiGuard Labs, our threat research team, makes it really easy for them to apply automation to that security, right? Someone breaks in your upstairs window, you want everything to be locked down, and everyone to be notified. The right one organization, EMS or whoever it is, to be notified. You don't want to have to deal with multiple. That's what we're doing. We are a platform. This is what makes us different. There are a lot of good products out there, right? I mention this not to try to, I'm not trying to sell you a Fortinet product. You're not going to walk out of here and say you want to buy one of your machines, right? But as you're investing in your career, you want to invest your time in developing your skills, developing your certifications around a platform, right? Makes more sense. Agreed? Does that resonate with you? I want to touch on FortiGuard Labs.
Does that work?
Yeah,
That's okay.
it's okay. It'll work. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Is that too loud for y'all? Is that okay? Okay. So that kind of concludes the. Hang on. Sorry. Concludes the overview of Fortinet. Now, so you guys got this handout, right? So what this is a view of our platform. All the different individual products kind of make up that platform. If you want to learn about any of these products in more detail, you can scan the little QR code. It'll pull up kind of a spec sheet and information on each of the products, right? So as you can see, we're protecting a lot of different vectors, right? The endpoint, email, internet, cloud, right? OT, IT. So with that breadth of different solutions, we're getting a lot of threat intelligence. FortiGuard Labs, with that threat map you saw earlier, right? Because we have so many different products, so many different 700,000 plus devices, customers out there, protecting all these different vectors, by default, we're going to obtain a lot of threat information, right? Threat intelligence. Now, we don't just rely on the information we collect from our products and our customers. We also are one of the founding members of the Cyber Threat Alliance. So this is an alliance of about 40 different service providers, right? And you'll see a lot of name brands up here, right? And the cool thing is, we all compete with each other in the marketplace, right? We're all out there trying to, provide and sell different solutions to our different customers. In many cases, we'll compete on some of the individual products. But at the same time, we're also working together. At the end of the day, what it's all about is protecting the world from the bad guy, right? So we collaborate and we actually share threat intelligence with each other through this alliance. So if Sans Lab or Symantec or Sophos finds a zero-day, gets introduced to a zero-day attack, they stop a zero-day attack, they're sharing that intelligence with all the other providers as well. Not immediately, but on a regular basis, okay? So if you're looking and trying to target different companies out there, right, when you graduate, this would be a great place to start, this list here, okay? Now, in addition to this, one of the other providers, I'd say industry experts out there is an organization called MITRE. Who here is familiar with MITRE? Okay. So MITRE, they're not a manufacturer of products or services, right? They've established a framework, right? So two different concepts you may already be well aware of. They're real simple in nature. One is to protect an environment from the bad guy. But the other part of it, in order to protect, oftentimes, you need to detect. You need to know this is a bad actor. This is a malicious file. And not only do you need to know it's bad, you need to know the different tactics and techniques that the bad guy is using to deploy that malware or to initiate that attack. What MITRE does, MITRE is what's called the industry overseer, right? Most organizations will leverage their framework, and here you see kind of the kill chain, and there's all the different techniques. There's a whole other page full of tactics. But basically, if you're a good provider, like Fortinet is, not only are we able to block something that we think looks bad, we're able to know as much about that threat as we can, right? And it's going to fall, it's typically going to land in one of these techniques that MITRE manages and kind of publishes and uses as part of their framework. They have a whole separate page of tactics as well. The more you know about it, the easier it is to defend against it. All right? Make sense? So be familiar with the term MITRE, the organization called MITRE. Okay? They're a staple in the industry.
And real quick,
Yeah.
I think one thing to tie back our fabric to the MITRE attack framework is cybersecurity providers target their solutions to have multiple products either covering pieces of this or all of this or working in conjunction. That was one of the advantages of our framework,
A platform.
having that platform approach so that we can cover as much of this as possible.
Yep. Oh, yeah, exactly. Well said. So let's dive a little bit more into our fabric. Again, not going to overwhelm you. You have the handout. But just to give you a general sense, we have three basic pillars of our products, right? One is our SASE. SASE stands for Secure Access Security Edge, right? These are the list of different products in that category. Think about, it's basically the concept of making sure that the right people with the right device has the right level of access to a network through authentication, right? Through two-factor authentication, right? There's a whole privileged access management, network access control, right? ZTNA, you mentioned zero trust, taking a zero trust approach. So again, this pillar is focused on network access, right? Once a device or a user is on the network, it's of course important to secure the traffic on the network, right? This is when we're using things like next generation firewalls, right? Next generation wireless access points and switches, right? Which is basically the combination of a firewall and wireless and switching into one, right? Things like SD-WAN, cellular backup. We also, just to kind of plug we have our voice over IP and video surveillance in the category as well, right? Cloud or on-prem, right? It's very important in an organization, if they're really serious about being safe, right, is they apply the same level of security in the cloud for their applications that reside in the cloud as they do on-premise. Lots of organizations don't do that. They have all the security beefed up for their headquarters, but then they're using, they got stuff in AWS or other platforms up in the cloud, and they're kind of relying on those vendors to provide security. That's not the way to go. Anyway. And then how do we manage and monitor all these things? So we have a security operations category as well, where we can provide an organization, teams with a SOC or a NOC, the tools to monitor and manage their network, and then also their security infrastructure as well. Things like a SIM, Security Incident and Event Management, SOAR, Security Orchestration and Automation, deception technology, EDR, Endpoint Detection and Response, sandboxing, email security, all kind of falls under the operational category, right? So again, this is no pop quiz in our products. I'm not trying to sell you a product. I just want to give you visibility to what a really good platform looks like. Okay? There are organizations out there that have miniature platforms. They may sell an access point or a switch and call that a platform. Okay. In the world of cybersecurity, there's so many different ways the bad guys are coming in, right? We actually have solutions that can protect all those attack vectors, right? And all these different products talk to each other. They share intelligence. one of these products, if this secure email gateway identifies a zero-day threat, we can share it with our next generation firewall, so that same threat coming through the internet will get blocked.
So it's full DNA. It's got end-to-end protection.
Yes, true end-to-end protection on all the ends. There's a lot of ends, right? It's no longer end-to-end. It's like vector here, vector here, vector. My example, upstairs windows, downstairs windows, front door, front porch, back door, right? They got the platform here.
So it's interconnected, it doesn't have to start from the beginning, it can go to.
Single operating system governs all this. Not a single management console, we have multiple management consoles, but a single OS simplifies the whole thing.
Or at least an API that we have integration into.
Or an API that we have with another manufacturer. Yeah. Okay? You kind of get in the concept of a platform. You see that can be valuable to your career, to be exposed and be certified in a platform, right? Okay. So here's an interesting stat. 4 years ago, 80% of organizations were either currently using a platform or headed that direction in the next few years. Now we're at 97%. This is where the industry's heading. This is where you want to get your expertise built under a platform. This is not just some sales guy coming to present on a Thursday night beating his chest about his company, right? This is where the industry is heading. We have played a big part in that, right? But reducing the complexity, right? In your world, complexity causes problems,
Yes, it does.
right? Okay, that's the threat landscape. That's the Fortinet overview. That's the platform overview. Any questions on any of that before we go on to the opportunity? We're going to talk about the opportunity now for you guys.
Showing that those pie graphs of like companies that were thinking about it until we're not, they.
Oh, right here?
Yeah. Is that because the implementation process takes some time? Because
So here's some of the reasons here. Improving their security posture, the risk posture. Improving capabilities. Flat or reduce security team staffing, right? I don't need to have in the world, so I'm going to name one manufacturer, and this may resonate with you. You have ever had Splunk in your environment before?
We can't afford Splunk.
Okay, for Splunk. So Splunk is a SIM, Security Incident Event Monitoring, okay? There's two things that go into Splunk, right? It's a very expensive product, right? But you also have to have an engineer they've spent their whole life getting trained up, certified, and you have to have a dedicated head just to manage your Splunk environment, okay? So when you have a platform, for example, this firewall has a wireless controller and a switch controller built in. One controller, you get one person that can learn how to manage this device, they can manage the wireless network and the switching infrastructure all together. Instead of maybe having a wireless engineer, it can help simplify. I don't want to oversimplify that, but at the same time, the more integration there is, the fewer headcount that ultimately would be needed, right, to staff up an organization, right? But again, I just say the number one thing is the complexity.
I will say too, COVID, I know we use that a lot, but that really did affect these numbers a lot, especially that would reduce staffing. A lot of people fled the scene, and suddenly companies were left with short staff. So this had them rethinking their strategy.
Okay, so there was a survey that was taken, about 1,850 IT decision makers around the world. All right. Here are some of this is from this year. Here's some of the stats that were learned from that survey. The number of $1 million plus attacks that costed an organization at least $1 million, has risen in the last 3 years from 38% of organizations to 48%. And last year, 53% of organizations had an attack that resulted in costing them about $1 million. Okay? 63% of those attacks took over a month to recover from. Okay? 51% of the organizations say that CISOs, Chief Information Security Officers, have either faced jail time, fines, demotions, and firings in the last I'm not sure how many, that's 1 year or at least over several years. 51%, right? 58% say IT staff deficiencies are the top cause. Are y'all stealing the opportunity? I mean, heck no, I don't want an opportunity. I want to find something else. I want to go make smoothies for a living now. Right? Right? But again, these weren't IT leaders. These were CEOs, right? Business leaders that feel they don't have, they have some deficiencies in their IT staff. 62% say finding qualified IT staff is the biggest challenge that they face. 91% prefer to hire certified staff, and actually 64% mandate certifications. 71% require 4-year degrees, and 66% hire people with traditional training backgrounds. Well, how would you describe a traditional training background as opposed to a 4-year degree?
Now or back or then?
The survey was this year, so.
Oh, so traditional training background, I mean, they're gonna put more emphasis on training, like being certified, being, trained in the product you're gonna be working with now.
There's ways to get certifications without going to college.
Yes.
On job training kind of thing?
On the job training, we're going to talk more about it in a couple slides from now. We offer free training online. Anyone can take it. Get certified. Okay. Lastly, this is the big one. 60% believe a certified staff is more valuable and results in a better security posture. Okay? Look at those last two bullets. A degree is awesome, but certifications are kind of the difference. Does that surprise anybody? Is that music to your ears? Are you happy to hear that? Maybe not. That's reality, though. Okay. Along the lines of opportunities, what opportunities are out there today? Across the U.S., here's a view of the top 5 states with the number of IT job postings out there. And this is for the top. So overall, across the U.S., there's 4 million IT jobs right now in the U.S. And then Texas is number 2 on that list, partially because we're one of the biggest states, right? 363,000 IT jobs posted right now. Okay. Projected growth, we go back. Projected IT job growth. Texas is projected to grow 17%, right? So all those data points you saw on the previous slide, right, kind of supports this. There's a need out there for IT professionals, and there's going to continue to be even more of a need. Okay? These are some of the categories, and this is a 10-year growth projection on the different categories. Support, sales and marketing, engineering, development, data scientists, and technology leadership, right? Again, this is projected over the next 10 years. So what I will say is to you guys, I think you guys have made a good choice to consider IT as a career path. Whatever that specialty may be, kudos to you, right? I always tell people it's kind of like the new healthcare, right? It is somewhat recession-proof in many ways. I would say if there's one of these roles that isn't recession-proof, sometimes it's sales and marketing, but everywhere else it's pretty recession-proof. I always tell people, as long as there's computers in the world and evil in the world, you'll always have a job in cybersecurity.
One thing I want to point out, have you guys noticed recently, just in the past 6 months, how many businesses or corporations have had data breaches? It's getting worse, isn't it? I mean, pretty much, we're probably guaranteed your social security numbers on dark web now. It's just there's so many breaches going on now. Like Tommy said, they're not going to go away. It's going to get worse. So yes, I agree.
Want to share your
Yeah.
IRS story?
Yeah, I just this year, we sent all our tax information to our accountant. No problem. File it. Oh, I get a call. Mr. Wright, we have a problem. Someone's already filed your tax return. I'm like, what? Yeah. So, needless to say, that completely, I got sidetracked. I had no idea.
It was a fun week for Eric
Oh,
around the house. He was a
Yeah.
good pleasure.
it was just a nightmare. But yeah, I mean, we're dealing with that. So having this in technology, it's just going to give more opportunity as we go on.
Just out of curiosity, we had an outage with Verizon a couple days ago. What are the odds of that being? I mean, AT&T had something similar earlier this year,
AT&T.
and they were hush hush for about a lot of 3 months. And
SmartCom had an outage.
Smartcom, Spectrum.
Smartcom hasn't said anything yet.
Yeah.
We're waiting on that. But
Yeah, and AT&T, we got a notification also right around the same time that we had our personal information was compromised. It was leaked. So could be that. Could have gotten hold of that. Who knows? But
So you're trying to figure out what do I want to do specifically, right? Where do I want to get trained? Here's some common roles that we see out there, right? When you start looking for internships or for jobs, cybersecurity analyst, cybersecurity manager. You kind of need to start as an analyst first, right? Consultants, developers, engineers. So Eric's a systems engineer, kind of systems, and you were a network engineer in your prior.
I'm a systems engineer on the server infrastructure side. This is on the cybersecurity networking side now.
Pen testing, vulnerability testing. These are the number of opportunities, openings right now, requesting certifications, right? And you see the list of different certifications here. 364,000 openings right now are requesting certifications. And here are some suggested initial certifications. Eric, you want to kind of touch on
Yeah,
these?
so the Microsoft MTA, Microsoft's recently revamped their certification program. Back in the day, and I'll show you kind of my history, but back in the day it was the Microsoft MCSE, Certified Professional Engineer. Now that's changed, so now they're taking in Azure, Cloud Compute. They got a real big one now, I think on AI that they're promoting. Your Cisco CCNA, ITIL, how many, are y'all familiar with ITIL? So that's the Information Technology Infrastructure Library. It's a set of standards to manage an IT organization. So I do have background in management, and I will say that is a really good, and there's several different certifications within that framework. Project management, change management is really good to learn. But yeah, I definitely encourage you to look at that as well. Now the other ones, the CompTIAs, those are really, really good. So I would say Fortinet, we don't require them. However, they're nice to have, and we actually have a path to get certified in those if we would like. But kind of starting out, the A+ is kind of the intro, teaches you about hardware, operating systems, virtualization. And then you kind of move into the Network Plus and Security Plus. So Security Plus is the cyber side, whereas the network focuses on networking fundamentals, teaching you all about routing, switching, wireless, DNS, DHCP, and then we have some advanced, or they have some advanced certifications for like security analyst, and also cloud. Definitely want you guys to really focus on cloud. We're getting more, that. I mean, everything is going to the cloud.
We had a phone call today from our biggest customer in San Antonio, a very large school district with the name San Antonio in it. And they wanted to, they're moving other applications out to the cloud, and they want to be able to make sure that the same level of security is applied to those applications as to what they're getting from Fortinet now on premise.
Absolutely.
Right.
So understanding that cloud architecture, how it works. So you're going to start seeing a lot of customers, a lot of folks, organizations. They're going to be hybrid. So they're going to be moving from on-prem. They have both, or some may just take the leap and go all the way to cloud. But definitely, cloud and anything in AI. It's an umbrella term. It could mean anything from some smart device you have at home to something like ChatGPT or quantum computing into data science. So definitely want to start learning that as well. And then of course Fortinet. We have a whole security institute. Now these trainings here, we actually have to, as Tommy has to go through fundamentals.
Yeah.
Tommy has to do the
I'm
fundamentals.
a sales guy. I only need one level through.
Yeah.
The propeller head.
Yeah, the engineer team, technical support team, our consultants, we all go through these different trainings. So it's the same training available that's available to us is available to you for free, which is really nice. So you can actually go to this site, our NSC Institute site, and sign up for a public account and do the training online for free.
We used to charge $3,000 per class. So in other words, to get certified in all that, it would cost you easily $100,000 or more, probably more than that if you were, right? And not to say you would go and get a whole platform, train a whole platform at once, right? $100,000 worth of valuable content is available for free, and then the certifications and the labs, a few $100s a piece, right, to get certified.
Just real quick, the fundamentals, they actually just go over more of the cybersecurity landscape, the threat landscape, and teach you about that, some of the entry-level pieces. The associate's degree is really geared around our firewall, next generation firewall, kind of an operator type, more of like what an analyst would be doing. And then our professional level, and it's the solution specialist. Those are going to be the ones where kind of those de facto industry standard that you're going to want to have. So having a certification in the we call it FCP for the FortiGate, for example, or network security would be one of the paths. And then you could actually go to a solution specialist and follow that same track. But we have them in all different areas that Tommy had showed earlier.
So we have training available online for free, certification exams and labs for a few $100. Okay. We do also have universities. One that comes to mind is South Texas College in McAllen that are taking part of our academy program, right? Where we actually have, as part of their cybersecurity curriculum for their students. It's going over the same content. Of course, it's instructor-led. There's labs and all that kind of stuff that come with it. I would encourage you guys to flood Dr. Saldana with requests to get the academy incorporated here at the Texas Southwest College. It's actually free curriculum. We give it for free. We even get lab equipment for free in the form of VMs.
Equipment like this, for example, you can have access to.
Well, hardware at a discount and then VMs for free. But I would say, Doctor, I'm guessing they have a voice somehow?
Yeah, no, I mean, they could definitely take it up and, talk to the dean and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've discussed this with the person in charge of the cybersecurity program, and they like the idea. It's just getting that momentum going, and of course, all the red tape that the campus has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, in any case, the content's still out there for you. You don't need to rely on the university to provide for you.
And free.
And it's just
Free,
free.
which is really nice. Last point. So, career Fortinet, we are required to maintain our training level. So I'm actually going through recerting now. So every 2 years we go through a recert for these, just to keep us up to date, fresh on everything. So cool. Just keep that in mind.
Is it like CompTIA that once you're renews all of them, or you would have to do each individually?
So once you're certified, we changed it, unfortunately. And that's why I'm having to recert now on multiple. We used to do it so if you were at the solution specialist level and you passed that certification, it would renew everything down. Now you have to be an expert to renew anything down. So I can be fully certed up to through maybe the network path or through the solution specialist, but I'll have to renew each cert every 2 years unless I go for my expert level.
But for these guys, folks, starting here.
Yeah.
Right? This is where you guys would want to start.
Yep.
Okay? Okay, so the market is hot, right? You have plenty of training resources out there, right? Now it's time to go apply for a job. Am I going to make any money out there? What's out there for me? Here is a list of the 50 states. It kind of shows in the world of IT, taking on some of those roles we talked about, like maybe security analyst, network analyst, network administrator. You see, particularly in the state of Texas, the average pay scale is around $53,000. Starting out is, the average is $75,000. Kind of starting out in the bottom, I say 10%, $50,000 plus is what we're seeing in the industry. On the high end, six-figure income, right? And this is just in the world for IT support roles, okay? Eric can kind of talk through the fact, you know what we're going to do next year. I want Eric to talk through his journey. And we even have some dollar signs here on the right, some big ones and small ones. You can kind of see as his career progressed, how his income was affected as well.
Now, I'll give you an idea of the timeline here, that first bullet, pre-internet childhood. So Tommy and I grew up before the internet, before ChatGPT, even
Before the internet.
Yeah. So really,
Before personal computers.
so we had dial-up internet hit in the early 90s, and that was right when I was graduating from college with a degree in
Can
geology.
y'all imagine a world before the internet?
Yeah, right? Yeah. I mean, just think about that. Just think about that for a second. So just a little bit of background before I went to school. How many of you all take your toys apart when you were kids before you even play with them? You just take them apart and see how they work. Okay. That's why you're here, right? We all have that in common. Every single toy I got electronic. I want to see how it worked. I played with it later. I was really interested in that. So I loved computers. I really loved science, whether it was geology, so the rocks, weather. Really was intrigued with weather. That's why I decided to get into geology. Well, as I got through college,
So I'm out there scoring touchdowns and you're playing with rocks.
I'm playing with the rocks.
All right.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
throwing rocks. You're throwing footballs, right? So yeah, So yeah, I get to the end, and I
He was a
graduate.
chick magnet, let's just say that.
Yeah. Hey, we're so good. We're good. We're good. Graduated, then reality hit me. I was like, because I really didn't know what to do. I mean, I thought I was like, okay, I really want to go into weather, do something with meteorology, whether it's research, be a storm chaser, whatever, something cool. But I still wasn't sure, so I started looking, reality hit me. My dad's like, okay, what are you going to do? I don't know. So I started looking for geology jobs, and unless you have a master's or a PhD, those are few and far between. So I was like, uh-oh. So I had to get a job. So I love computers, so I got a job with actually Office Depot selling computers. And I did that for a little while, really enjoyed it. Then I had an opportunity to work at a local business where I met my future wife, who I'm now married to, there. So early on, so that started affecting some of my decisions too as well. But I got to do a lot of IT work, building computers there at their business, servicing them. So I really enjoyed that. But I wanted to make more money. So I was like, an opportunity came up where I was able to actually get into a geology-focused job where it was geophysical, where we actually would go out and look for underground ordnance. So an old military bombing site, after the surface layer bombs were in missiles or whatever it was, grenades were all scraped, we had basically these huge metal detectors, and we looked for ordnance underground. So I did that for a while. I was like, too much travel. I didn't like that. Then my former employer said, hey, there is a position opening at the University of Virginia. They're looking for a technician. I was like, okay, I'll give that a shot. And that's where I found that I get to work with computers, every day. I started building the images on the computers, deploying the images, and that really sparked my interest. So, from that point, I loved working in the university setting. So I stayed with UVA for a while. Got some training inside UVA. I was promoted to eventually to a systems engineer, where I was actually building servers, server infrastructures, virtualization infrastructures, and storage infrastructures. So, and I love that. Eventually, it kind of brought me to my wife and family and I. We moved down to Texas about 11 years ago, and I got a job working at Eanes ISD, which is in Austin. That's a K-12 institution, and I got into management, IT management. So I really enjoyed that, and that's how I got to know the Fortinet folks. And really
They
loved.
were a customer of ours.
Yeah, they were a customer, and I loved the product, and found out, hey, there's a job opening. So that's when I decided to interview and got the position. With my background in engineering, a diverse background in various IT roles, that helped me get the job before that.
So the main message here is, we started out in an age where before computers, before internet, right? You guys are so much further along than we ever could even imagine, right? You know, huge. So those small dollar signs, single dollar signs, I mean, those are small. Those are small.
Yeah.
Right? That's like I'm going working at the Smoothie King, that type of pay, right?
Oh, so I don't know how I'm going to afford to live.
And again, we talk about preparation, we talk about determination. Working hard and working smart is how you get there.
So, and just the real quick summary, Tommy, from there to here, I took the long path. You guys, like Tommy said, you're in a perfect position now. You're getting started out to where I would love to have been, in your shoes.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely getting a head start.
So let's quickly go through this slide. But here we talk about some of the skills and qualifications required or needed or recommended to be successful in the industry, especially starting out. So some of the technical qualifications, here, Eric, I'll let you kind of kick on these.
Yeah, so
Let's go quick.
always great to have, have that computer science degree or anything related in technology, whether it's an associate's degree or a bachelor's of science degree. Employers are going to look at that. That's paramount. But, having experience, when you start looking at a lot of the job applications, they're going to always say it's 5 years plus experience. So one of the things I would love to encourage you guys to do, if you could do any type of mentoring or internships, do that. My nephew did that, and he got a really great job right out of college. So things like that to help get you to that 5 year plus experience. But these are the types of knowledge, the skills that you're going to kind of focus on in your career path when you're actually looking for.
The one at the bottom is this, right? The next generation firewall. You can do lots of things within a single appliance.
So soft skills, that's the other piece. Okay, great. I have everything. I have all the technical skills I need. Well, how are you as a person, and how how do your soft skills align? Bring all these up so we can kind of go back. There we go. And I think we kind of agree. We're all very similar here. So that being able to critically think, the ability to solve problems is really a key piece in this type of field. Adaptability and flexibility, I put that up there because in the IT world, I don't care who you're working for or what role, you're not going to have a set hour that's always going to be, hey, it's 8 to 5, 9 to 5, and that's it, you're done. This doesn't work that way in the real world. You got to be flexible. I mean, you may have to do maintenance windows at midnight. You may have to support a customer that's doing a maintenance window at midnight. But having that mindset that you're going to be flexible, it's actually fun. I mean, Tommy and I, we spend a lot of time at midnight with customers just to be there to support them, and it's fun. It's
That's
part
not
of the
fun.
job. Well, it is for me. You're an accountant.
It's a bonding
Yeah,
opportunity.
it is a bonding opportunity.
That's when it's 3 a.m. and stuff's broken.
Yeah.
Exactly. Being able to manage your time. I mean, you hear that a lot. Just having that piece is going to be key to make sure you don't fall behind. A self-starter and learner. You don't want your boss to come up to you and say, "Hey, did you get this done?" Or, "Hey, what do you know about this particular? I heard about this new malware. Do you know anything about it?" "No, I don't know. I've never heard of it." Well, it's kind of cool to be like, "Yeah, I've actually been reading about that. Let me tell you about it." So that learner, always going out on your own you're not always gonna get paid to go out and learn. So a lot of, some of that's gonna take initiative to do on your own and just do that research. Working with a team, collaborating with one another, whether it's your stakeholders, whether it's, customers or anybody on your internal team. Having that communication skill and working together is paramount. And finally, and I'll put this last, I actually learned customer service piece when I worked at Office Depot, one of my first jobs. Being able to have empathy with someone you're working with, whether it is a customer or a coworker, being able to identify, well, what if I was in their shoes? How would I feel if this was happening to me? Or how would I want this fixed? I really underscore that last one. It's extremely important, and it's been very important in my journey through all my jobs.
So, these are the things, do we have about 8 or 9 more minutes? Have we have
Of course.
Okay, so these are the things, especially on this right side, these are the things that are gonna help you take a job and help you develop it into a career, right? Qualifications, the certs, you landed your job, done that initial preparation work. These are some of the things that are gonna help you maintain that job, keep you from getting fired, right? And develop your career. Now, here's why I say that, is because there are perception, raise again, the Gen Zers in the room, raise your hand, okay? There are perceptions out there that Gen Zers don't have these skills. I'm gonna show a quick little video here, 2 minutes. This is not you necessarily, but this is a perception that many hiring managers have. Have y'all seen this? Have y'all seen this? Okay, here we go.
Amy, it says you are trained in technology. That's very good. Are you adept at Excel?
No,
PowerPoint?
no,
Publisher?
not really.
Exactly in what area of technology are you proficient?
Snapchat, Pinterest, Instagram, Vine, Twitter, the big ones.
I'm surprised you didn't say Facebook.
That's for old people like my parents. That's funny.
Well, Amy, when you're working for me, you have to have those kind of research skills because I'll send you things for you to comb through and get the answers and send them to me. So for that, you've got to be really good at technology.
For stuff like that, no problem. I'll just ask Siri.
Just ask Siri?
Siri tell me this, Siri find me that. We're all good at getting you the answers.
Tell Siri I want you ready to go at 8 sharp each and every morning.
I don't understand
What do you understand?
what you just said.
You don't understand be ready to go?
No. You said 8, right?
Yes.
8, like, in the morning, 8?
Yes, in the morning.
Yeah. That kind of doesn't work for me. Who gets up at 8?
I do.
I Skype with my French boyfriend in Paris until like 3 in the morning. I don't even get to Starbucks until like 10, where I order my grande chai tea latte, 3 pound skim milk, white water, 2% foam, extra hot but not too hot. So if it's okay, I work best in the morning at 10:45.
Wow. Amy, I don't think we're going to be a good fit.
Why are you so negative? I can sense your hostilities, and right now I am not feeling very safe. I've been here for over 5 minutes, and the only nice thing you have said to me was nice resume, which I typed all night for this meeting with you. You've given me no guidance, no validation, no encouragement, no supervision. Is there an HR director somewhere?
HR director?
Yes, I need to speak to someone. I may have to take off today as a mental health day.
Amy, look at me. You don't work here.
Are you firing me?
Okay, yes.
Anyway,
Anybody relate?
so that was funny. I think that was funny. Not necessarily saying this applies to anyone in this room, okay? However, the perception exists out there. So there was a survey taken this year. 60% of companies have fired a Gen Z graduate that they hired this year already. 60% did not make it. 60% of companies have folks that did not make it a year. Okay? What are the reasons for that? So here's part of the survey. How many of the recent college graduates you hired this year have been successful at the company? Right? So only about 20% said all of them. Right? Most of them were either just some or a few, a couple nones. Okay? Reasons college graduate hires haven't been successful in the survey. They lack the motivation or initiative. They lack professionalism, poor organizational skills, poor communication skills, challenges with feedback, lack of relevant work. So this is all kind of the preparation, right? Skills, technical skills. This is kind of that determination, right? Are you focused on trying to improve yourself, right? And work hard. So frequency of challenges. So these are some of the most frequent reasons. So in orange are the oftentimes seen challenges. They can't manage the workload, right? Late to start work every day. They don't dress professionally. They don't use appropriate language. They're late to meetings, difficult to manage. Hand assignments in late. Don't get along with coworkers. Deliver poor quality work. All right.
Anybody relate to that?
All right. So
It's not too late. It's not too late.
it's not too late, because to Eric's point, here's some factors that would increase hiring managers' likelihood of hiring a recent college graduate, right? They show, like Eric was saying before, they show initiative, positive attitude, strong work ethic. They're adaptable, open to feedback. They're punctual and reliable. And then you get into some skills. The technical skills, yes, but good interpersonal skills. Internship experience, work appropriate social media, right? I don't think Pinterest qualifies for that, right? Avoids politics. So again, this is just one survey, but as a dad of 2 college-age students, my kids fall in some of these categories, unfortunately.
And I can tell you from being a CTO and a hiring manager, these resonate very strongly.
Right. So it's not just about getting the job, right? It's about securing the career. So last slide. I want to get back to that formula for success, right? Success is a point where preparation and determination meet opportunity. So some things you can focus on in your preparedness, right? And again, the fact that you're here, you're already preparing yourself, right? You've prepared yourself, your childhood, right? Growing up in the internet age, there's been some on-the-spot preparation. But again, this probably shouldn't surprise you, right? Get certified. Get your degree. Kick butt in this class and all your other classes. Get certified. Right? We gave you a list of some starter certifications, right? There may be others. You don't have to, what we write down isn't gospel, but those are some suggestions, right? Internships, part-time work. So one of you were telling me that internships your last class requires an internship, right? So what are y'all, I'm just curious, what is the internship? How many of y'all are pursuing internships or will be pursuing internships? Is that kind of part of the program here? Okay.
They're going to be associates, they're going to do an internship.
And if you can't find an internship, sometimes it can be tough to find one, right? You're not guaranteed an internship, right? It's not signing up for the neighborhood flag football team. I get assigned to a team. It's not like that. There's part-time work out there.
Yeah.
There are people, a lot of those internships aren't paid. Some are paid, some are not paid. There's part-time work you can find that might be paid or even unpaid. But find something. Find something. Develop your presentation skills. Well, I'm a techie. I'm going to be an engineer. Who am I going to present to? Right? Sometimes it's presenting yourself. Presenting your story. Presenting in an interview. right? Being able to communicate a story. So my son right now is a computer science major. He's a junior, and he's just starting out going to job fairs at school, okay? And part of the job fair experience is to not just kind of go through your resume and what you're studying and your grades. It's about talk about the projects that they're doing, right? In fact, he's fortunate. He's 3 of his CS classes. They all have a project centered around it. So he can do one of 2 things. He can go in and say, yeah, we're doing a project on this, but he has to be able to then explain, right? What problem is that project going to solve? What went into it? What were the challenges you faced, right? So it's not just about doing the work, it's being able to explain it. Sometimes you're going to find yourself explaining to your boss why he shouldn't fire you, by the way. It could be stuff like that, just communication skills, right? Be able to lobby for yourself and explain your story, explain the work that you're doing, explain the value you're providing. And then, like Eric, you saw Eric's career path. He wasn't presenting much early in his career. He's standing in front of you right now presenting, right? At some point in your career, you're going to be leading a team. You're going to be selling a product to customers, maybe, if you want to get into sales, right, which is a possibility. Marketing, technical marketing. There's lots of different ways your career path can go. At some point, how many times have you had to present in front of a county commissioner? Right?
Many times.
And you have one shot to sell the commissioner.
You have one shot, and you have to make sure they understand the content.
Yeah.
Most of them have this much technical knowledge.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you present yourself correctly and properly the first time.
I always tell people, no matter what job you take, we are all salesmen. We are all salesmen. Whatever industry you're in, whatever role you're in, at some point you're going to have to sell a concept, an idea, or sell yourself to someone. Don't wait too long to start developing those skills. Identify and mentor. This is probably the most important thing. If you walk away with nothing, learning nothing from this hour we're spending with you, walk away with that. Identify and mentor. Somebody that can help. It doesn't have to be the same mentor for life. I found a mentor at age 19. Doesn't mean they could be a mentor for the next year or 2 to kind of get you to that next level. Identify a mentor that you can talk to, bounce ideas off of, get input from. My career staggered. My career would have advanced 5 years faster than it did early on if I would have had a mentor. I learned things accidentally, where if I had someone to go to and I could ask them some basic questions, it would have saved me years on my career. What role is this next role the right role? Right? What can I do to prepare myself? Can you help me prepare for this interview? Can you help me with my presentation? Those types of things. If you don't know a mentor, it could be a student mentor, it could be a professor, it could be someone that you work for, it could be there may be family members that you work with, family members that you have that are not in technology, but they've been in business. They have had long careers. They can give you career advice, even though they're doing something entirely different.
And use a real person. Don't use Chat GPT
Yes.
as a mentor. Hey, it's great tool.
Even if they have great conversations with you.
Yes.
Exactly. But having this impersonal experience, that's what you want.
Okay, and then lastly, determination. Okay? So these are things you do to prepare yourself. But develop good work habits now. You have the best opportunity to do it in school. Right? If he has to sweat you down to be on time to class, to get your assignments in, to speak up in class, to ask questions, there's a problem with that. There's a problem. And can't be fixed. I put this under the determination category because some of us have to work at this, right? You have to work at good work habits.
Yeah.
You have to work at setting goals. Some of us aren't goal-oriented. It's like, what's next on my list? I'm going to do that. I'm not thinking big picture. Set goals, because without goals, there is no achievement. If you like achieving things, set a goal, a short-term goal, long-term goals, and build a plan to achieve those goals.
And this translated to the work too, right? Short and long-term planning and your goals for your organization.
A goal or a vision without a plan is nothing but an interesting thought. Think about that, okay? Set goals, map a plan to those goals, network with people. So this is kind of identifying a mentor, right? It may not be an actual official mentor, right? Network with people in person. Yes, there's so many social media opportunities to network with people, and that's great, okay? But the best interactions you're gonna get
Are actual people.
are actual people, right? And again, some people have to work at that, especially the Gen Zers, guys. I'm not trying to generalize here. I have 2 college-age kids. My son has to work at this. This is work for him.
Yeah.
But it's work that needs to be done. And then lastly, solicit feedback. Okay? Feedback isn't just, I got a grade on a project or grade on a test, there's my feedback. Go back to your instructor. How could I get better? What else can I be doing to better prepare myself for the course, for a job, for a career, for life, whatever it may be? Without feedback, you cannot improve. You cannot improve. You saw Eric's career path. Small dollar sign, 3 big dollar signs. He took a lot of feedback along the way to keep him on the right path and making the right decisions, right? Sometimes we don't want it. This is work. This is determination, because that's work. That can be hard. Hearing something you don't want to hear can be really, really hard. So you have to work hard at convincing yourself to stick your neck out, right, with your heart on your sleeve and get that feedback. So again, guys, success is the point where preparation and determination meets opportunities. And those opportunities, you saw my first several slides, the opportunities are all around you. They're all around you. Go get that job, but secure your career. That's all I have, guys. Yeah. Any questions or other just thoughts going through your head?
Ask away, gentlemen. Lady?
Yes.
So I see a lot of mention with like different certifications. I was wondering, does test out have any sort of value?
Does what?
Does test out have
Test out?
Yes, as a
So
certification.
test out, I think they bought CompTIA, or is it the other way? CompTIA bought them. So test out just means you're prepared to take the actual certification. Your actual A+, your actual Network Plus, your Sec Plus. You know, that's preparing you for it. Most industry won't know what test out is. So, I mean, taking them here on campus, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Rodriguez, as long as you do well on the test out, they give you the voucher to take your actual cert, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one you want. It's the actual cert with the little number that says your number 1,105 with a Sec Plus. That's what you want.
Okay.
That's what the companies are going to recognize.
Yes.
So for us, some of us that maybe have plans to, land a job or, even an interview, for an opportunity that's out of state, do hiring managers ever do that, I guess since like COVID, do they do it over like?
Zoom or in person versus in person?
If you're out of state where you don't have to fly there in
Yeah.
person, but to kind of get that interview to see
Yeah.
if, they want you to travel out there and further.
Good question. So first of all, has anyone actually sat through a job interview before? Okay. So typically, and I'll give an answer, and if you want to plug in any holes, everything different from your experience. Typically, especially nowadays, with the internet, with Zoom, cell phones, all this kind of stuff, this technology that we didn't have when we were growing up, right? For us, it was you get in your car and you drive wherever you're gonna meet in person. First interview. Now first step, you're gonna get a call from you're gonna meet with an HR person / recruiter. They're gonna vet you out. That's gonna be over the phone, right? It may be via Zoom, but usually it's definitely not in person. They're gonna say, is this person? And again, my daughter's going through the interview process now. She's like, Dad, I got an interview. I'm like, Dad, I'm like, Lexi, who is it with? Great job, who's it with? Oh, well, it's this person, and she says her title is basically as an HR person, right? I said, great, just understand this is your vetting. They're gonna make sure you don't have 3 eyes coming out of your head and you can actually speak, English, and you're not that girl on the video that you saw, right? Making sure you're not. make sure you're presentable, and then that HR person doesn't lose credibility recommending you to the hiring manager, right? Because that HR person will lose their job pretty quickly if they just send over every candidate, right? They want to vet them. Do you check the boxes? They're looking at your certifications, right? How does he communicate? He or she communicate with the phone, right? Do they show some energy, right? And you check all the basics. That's the first interview, okay? Then typically it's this next interviews with the hiring manager. If you're out of state, and by the way, you're going to want to have an answer to the question of what are your plans to move into our state, right? So have that answer. And there's no right or wrong answer. You just want to be truthful.
And why? It's like, why do you want to move here?
Right? Yeah, a lot of employers don't even want to talk to you until you're in the state.
That's exactly right. I was going to tell you that.
My daughter just moved to Los Angeles, and she couldn't get an interview until she moved there, right? So a lot of times, the second interview will oftentimes be a phone or Zoom, right? When you get into the third interview, okay, the hiring manager likes you, but now they want to have you meet with their peers or maybe some of the team members you'll be working with to make sure you're a fit. Sometimes that could be in person, right? Sometimes it's also, I'll say this, 75% of the interviews are on phone or on Zoom. Even the actual extending the offer and all that, there's a good chance it could be remote, especially if they know you're out of state, right? And they may say, you know what, save yourself a flight, let's do it, we can do this remotely. That's just how technology is these days. Some will be at that stage, depending on the role. I'd say this, the more senior the role is, the more they'll want to meet with you in person.
Yeah.
The entry-level roles, they're typically fine with the Zoom call, right? So you're at the stage you guys are at in your careers, or you're about to enter your careers, I would expect, but again, all the more reason to sharpen your presentation skills. Do some role playing with a mentor or someone. How do you present yourself on camera, on Zoom, right? Are you looking all over the place? Do you have, make sure your lighting looks okay. All these little things. How does your voice come off, right? You want to practice that. That's a whole nother dynamic with interviewing, is interviewing via Zoom, having a phone conversation. On a phone, it's hard to read body language, right? That's the challenge. Being able to check in, part of interviewing skills is checking in. I answer a question, short. Would you like me to expand? Did I answer your question? Yeah, go ahead and expand. Do you have some dialogue, right? And the other thing I'll say about interviewing, I have a whole bunch of feedback on interviewing, but I'll say this is, don't do what I'm doing right now and talk forever, right? You want to actually give crisp, concise answers. Ask them if they want to go deeper. They're looking for one buzzword or one phrase or one thing to tell them, you know what? He's got it. I don't need to hear his whole life story. Let's move on to the next question, right? So, but it takes practice. It takes practice. So, yep, mostly Zoom, mostly phone, especially out of state. More senior the role, the more opportunity to do it in person. You'll probably have at least three interviews. HR, hiring manager, and then some of the peers. Does that answer your question?
Well, yes, it does, and thank you. I guess my intention with the question is kind of, is there a possibility to kind of like, if I wanted to get out of Texas and go to say, California or, Nevada or, anywhere really.
Yeah. Just say Vegas. Just say it. You mean Vegas, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Is there that possibility to kind of, to move and travel around?
Okay. Yes. Yes, there is. Again, a lot of times when you get a job, especially a first job, a lot of times it's based on not always what preparation work you did. It's not always based on your personal skills. Sometimes it's who you know, right? And the challenge about applying for an out-of-state role with no experience is you probably don't have a connection, right? So I will say, if you tell me if you agree with this, if you are looking to go out of state just because I want to get out of Texas, right? I wouldn't be so much in a hurry to do that on your first role. You leverage your connections, your locale, the people around you here to get your first job here. So you can develop, easier to develop your career out of state in that next place, right? You can go try, again, they're getting hundreds of resumes, sometimes thousands of resumes. This guy's out of state, this guy's here. Look on LinkedIn, oh, you know what? We have some mutual connections here in the area, right? So if you're going to an area where you have a lot of connections, easier. I would suggest you start local. By the way, that you may end up loving it, right? To make it easier on yourself, start local, build some work experience, then maybe look. Would you agree with that?
I'd say you're pretty much right on it. I mean, the other thing is too, if you do here working locally, it may lead to opportunities where you're in a company that may have out-of-state opportunities.
Remote locations, you travel.
So, right, and
Yeah.
that's another segue into doing that. As a hiring manager myself, one of the biggest dings for people out of state applying is a lot of times I'm in a hurry to hire, right? Unless this person is just coming across amazing, has everything I'm looking for, and I can't find it in my current pool that's local. The optics are they're just looking to get here. You know, that's kind of one of the things that you got going against you. So you need to have a good, strong. Here's why I want to move here.
Yeah.
You know, this is why I'm relocating, and I really make it about the company too, right? Don't make it. I want to use you to move. You know, I love to stay. Well, I love go to Utah, go skiing. You know, no.
And then maybe another elephant that's in the room that you might be a next question or something you're thinking about. I'll just put it out there. Please don't be too focused on getting a work from home job. Right? One, the types of roles that you're going to want to pursue early in your career, security administrators, analysts, and network administrators, those jobs are in person already. But more importantly than the job role itself, you're learning. Being able to talk to the guy in the cube or down the hall next to you, right, is invaluable.
Hall talk.
Right? When you get to be our old age, right, and you know it all, okay, then there's I work out of the house, but I travel, right? But I started my career in IT at Dell, and I worked at Dell headquarters in Round Rock for 15 years. I worked in cubes. I worked in a corporate office. That accelerated my development by being around people, being in those meetings, learning from others in person. The learning would not have happened, especially early in my career, being in my home office. It would not have happened. Okay, so if you're thinking about that, those jobs might exist. I would try to get that thought out of your head personally.
Some of the big companies are pulling back. I mean, Amazon's recalling January 1.
So I'll use Dell as an example. Dell, they went remote during COVID. Then they brought them back in hybrid 2 or 3 days a week. Now they're telling them, if you guys read this like in the last 2 months, now they're telling their employees if they don't come back full time, they will not be eligible for promotion. Period. They won't fire them, but they're stuck in their job. Right? The companies have put a lot of money into brick and mortar. They don't want to have it go to waste, right? But they want that culture, that collaboration, right? Is very important. When you're hiring someone, by the way, a question you always want to ask in an interview, there's kind of 3 questions you want to ask. You want to ask a question about strategy of the organization, about the structure of your team, structure of the process, and the culture. You want to ask them about their culture. What is it like to work for you? What would your team say about you? Right? What is the company, how would you describe the company culture? If everyone's working from home, there is no company culture. Right? So, I'm sorry if I rambled, but I'm passionate about interviewing, and those come to mind. What other questions are there?
Real quick before he goes on. So, and just to point out, you mentioned Vegas. You know, there was one of my former students. He was working with a tech here on campus, Evolution, I think. And he liked the way he worked. So he got him a job, and they both went to Vegas. So I think they're working out of the MGM now, doing IT work. So it's that connection that he had, that showing his capabilities, his personality, his work ethic, that got him that ticket to Vegas.
Building that network here.
Yep.
And then, yes, there's movement everywhere. I'll tell you that, you will not be in the same organization, right, 20 years from now than you are your first job, right? Your career may be in the same path, but the company's going to change. That's technology. There's a lot. There's so much change, right? But yeah, people move, but everyone have a LinkedIn profile. If you don't, get one. Even if you don't have a whole lot to put on there, right? Start developing your network. That's networking. So yes, network in person, but also get your LinkedIn profile and whatever tools you guys use. But I mean, LinkedIn for me is the gold standard there. What else? Was this helpful? Hopefully you learned something new.
Good. Good.
All right? Okay. Well, thank you all very much for having us. And is there any more Chick-fil-A left? All right. Thank you all again. Thanks, guys. So come get some mouse pads and...
So again, I hope this is beneficial to you all. I want you all to meet people that are in the business. Hopefully, it opens the door for one of you, or two of you. You know, this is why we do this. I know it's, Dr. Saldana wants us to come in here and to listen to these people talk. You know, these people have been there, they've done it, they have your stories. You know, I want you to meet them, I want you to ask these questions, find out why. Why did they choose IT? Why did they choose cyber? You know, why are they going where they're going? You know, take the opportunity. From what I understand, very few campuses offer this opportunity. You know, I've got the contacts. I want to share that with you all. Thank you, man. That's great. Mr. Papadakis, thank you.
Absolutely.
Mr. Wright, thank you so much for coming down here.
Thank you, guys.
All right, real quick. Platform or product? Which one do you choose?
Platform.
Platform. All right, there you go. Good luck to you guys. Good luck to y'all. And again, like I said, just by the fact that you're enrolled and you're here,
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive. Nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we're making tonight. Oh yeah, we'll make it tonight. Yeah. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go ask for more, go ask for more. Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? I'm in a race that everybody's chasing fast. They wanna be that someone on the screen at last. They ain't looking inside for their needs in life. They wanna be liked by everybody in sight. But trust me, being free ain't spotlights. No, it's long nights and it's long fights with yourself all the time to get your mind right. But if you put in the work, you can find the light, alright.